I've always had this dilemma where to get a job, you need experience, but to get experience, you actually need a job. Hey guys, my name is Calvin. I'm a marketing coordinator at Real Skills Education and also studying at UNSW. Joining me today to talk about this dilemma, we have Samuel Lee, Emerging Solutions Engineer at Salesforce and a recent grad at UNSW, Aaron Ngan, CEO of JA Australia, that helps people with entrepreneurship and work readiness for employment in the future. Thank you for joining me today. With many people finding it difficult to find an internship these days, what would be the first step be for a student at this time?
So I would say one thing that you can do really easily is just start to connect with different people. Reach out to them, whether it's in person or through people that you already know or just on LinkedIn. And the word that the sentence that you want to use is, hey, can I have some advice? People love getting asked advice. People love feeling that they know some things and that they have the experience. And the truth is that we all have experience that we can give, even if we feel that we don't. So I would start reaching out that way. Start asking people the question of, hey, do you have any advice on getting internships? Which does a couple of things. It takes away the pressure on the person asking you compared to if you actually say, hey, I know I've just met, can I have an internship? Now they're in a situation where they might want to, they might not, but they're probably going to say, no, I probably can't do that. You go, hey, can I get some advice? Now that's a lot easier for them to engage with. You can start to share with them what you're up to, and you can actually get out there. Another thing is I would just start using platforms like LinkedIn, especially, also Facebook, and just kind of share with people what you are up to. Share with people, hey, during this time, I'm really dedicated to my own development. I'm currently looking for ways to develop my experience in this. That includes reaching out and finding out about internships, develop myself in these particular ways, and also doing these specific projects. The more that you share what you're doing and what you're up to with the people in your community, the more people will know it, and you might have people who are already in your network, which once they see that, they might start to get inspired. They might start to go, hey, I've actually got something which might line up with what you've got. And you're just starting to put that out into the world so that something might happen.
Perfect. For Samuel?
Awesome. So as a student, as a very recent student, and I totally understand the difficulties of finding the internship and finding the graduate roles. So when I was a student, what I did was actually, first and foremost, make sure that my resume or my cover letters are up to date. They are the most recent copy, and actually have some prepared for the different industries you're applying for. Now, the reason why I set this as my first step, because it ties into the second step, which is very similar to what Aaron mentioned. All right, when you start reaching out to people, whether it's through LinkedIn or whether through cold calls or just emails, cold emails, you want to be able to showcase all the different skill sets you have available within your resume. Because the moment that you start creating that conversation with them and you share all the different projects you're working on, when they ask for your resume, you're able to also just send that through immediately and talk them through the different parts within your resume itself. Now, the third thing that I want to share as well is utilize all the free resources that's available out there. Now, I know apart from JA Australia as well, there are some individuals that I follow on LinkedIn who are very willing to set aside time to have a chat to students or whoever's interested in wanting to develop their own skill sets, whether it's interview prep or just getting their cover letter checked out or their resume checked out. Now, I know Consulting recently did a collaboration with one of my friends from Salesforce with the UNSW Digital Society, I believe, and they shared some very interesting advice over there as well. And just from Consulting itself, one of the things I really took away from that conversation is that if you currently don't have an internship, that's fine as well, because there's actually different ways for you to reach out or the ways for you to develop some sort of portfolio of skills that you want to enhance yourself. Let's say if you're a software engineer, if you don't have an internship, that's fine, because you can actually identify some gaps maybe within businesses that you can actually try to fill by going out and setting this as your project. Now, what this does for you is actually help you create conversations later on by sharing with people that you try to reach out to and sharing them what you've done in your free time. Instead of just trying to apply for jobs, you've also tried to actually enhance all these different skill sets and slowly develop them. And it's actually a great conversation starter. And potentially that could draw some interest and they could help you create a role within your company that fills that gap that you've identified yourself, and something beautiful, something amazing could potentially happen as well. And I think just one final key point as a takeaway, start looking at your university and identify what resources that they have. Because I know UNSW has their own graduate portal, graduate job portals that contains internship openings and grad roles openings. Look at different societies, not just within what you do, but all the other societies available in your own respective universities. Because oftentimes they would host networking workshops, they will host cover letter workshops, resume workshops, anything that gives you that opportunity to learn and to grow and to get better, so that when the time comes, you're ready to shine. So that would be the 4 takeaway points for students.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, so Samuel, I know that you've been through a lot. You've jumped from company to company, and you've probably experienced a lot of assessment centers to actually get an internship and stuff. So would you give some tips on these types of assessment centers for students?
Yeah. So I haven't. thanks for making it sound like I did a lot, even though personally I wouldn't say I've done a heap, but I do know that from my experiences, internship usually have a case study that you work together with a whole group of different students from a whole wide range of backgrounds. And the second is an interview process. So let's talk about the case study first. So if a case study, usually the key points of case study isn't actually specifically the content that you're trying to create with all these different individuals, but more of how do you work with people that you've never met before and come up with a solution together, right? What sort of personalities do each of these individuals have, and who's the ones that's able to adapt, to able to bring the whole group together to actually create a solution, potentially an amazing solution that they can also present to those assessors and see whether you can create that amazing relationship with all of them and deliver that amazing content. So for case studies, just remember that you're not there to shine brighter than everyone out there, right? Your goal is actually to work together to come up with a solution so that all of you have the opportunity to shine equally and achieve the end goal, right? Which is to deliver the solution to the case study. Now, in a one-on-one interview, it's a totally different process. And I believe every student would have learned the STAR method, but if you haven't, I'm just going to share with you my take on the STAR method as well. So you have S, which stands for situation. Always make sure that you tell the assessor when they ask you some interview questions, always start off with what the situation is, to give them some context. Then the next one will be task. So tell them out of this situation, what sort of task that you need to do in order to accomplish your end goal. And A, which stands for action, that means what are the steps that you took to make sure that you complete the mission, the goal at hand. And R, you share the results of that, of your actions, right? You share whether did you succeed, did you fail, did everyone enjoy what solution you came up with? And finally, I like to add in an extra R, so it becomes STAR, right? And the extra R is actually reflection. You don't want to just show them what you've done, but you also want to show them that you went back and thought through your entire logical flow, your entire thought process. Could you have done it better, right? Could you have done something that improved the whole process? If you could go back, what would you change so that everything could be done better? Or do you think this was the best that you can do? And yeah, like, so just remember situation, task, action, results, and finally reflection. That would be the advice I would give to students for assessment centers.
Yeah, that's perfect, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Aaron, I know being a CEO, and you have your own company, where would you advise these students to actually go and find some experience?
Yeah, perfect. I think,
Yeah.
so when people say CEO, it sounds really fancy. JA is a very small company. So anyone can be the CEO of the very small company, but that's not the point I want to make. I want to echo what Samuel said before, is that you can actually create the experiences that you want to create. Just because you don't have an internship doesn't mean that you can't represent those types of experiences to an interviewer or to a hiring manager. So what that can look like is starting to go, okay, what is actually needed in my community? What is needed in my group of friends? What does the world actually need? And when you start looking at that, a lot of what will help you is a lot of what we teach in entrepreneurship, in design thinking. So you can start to go, okay, how do I start to understand the problem? How do I start to understand who's experiencing the problem? And what's that like for them? What's that impact for them? And then what I would say is actually keep in mind that you can actually go and create something that is a project, something that is going to actually solve this problem, something that's going to actually involve people in your community. And you can start going out to them and say, hey, I'm doing this thing. Do you want to be a part of it? I'm actually jumping in and making this difference here. Do you want to come along with me? And what I would say in creating these projects is it might feel that you want to take on all of the power yourself. You want to make sure that it's perfect and make sure that it happens. But the real magic happens when you start going, hey, for example, hey, Samuel, I'm running this project and I'm doing this thing and I want you to be part of this and I want you to be a leader in my project. And what that means isn't that I get to tell you what to do, but that you get to actually come along with me for this journey. So you want to think about when someone goes, right, have you got any internship experience? What are they really asking for? So first of all, you got to answer the question, which is no, I don't, if that's the case. But secondly, what are some of the same things which they might be looking for from an internship experience? And that might be, can you actually prove that you've delivered results? Can you actually show that you've worked in a team? So you can say, hey, I haven't worked in an internship, or I don't have any internship experience like that. But can I tell you about this experience where I put together this project which delivered this outcome? And once they say yes, and they probably will, is you can go, hey, I worked with a group of 5 or 6 people to actually work on this community project where we looked at this particular need that was being experienced by these people. And what we put together was X, Y, and Z, and we achieved results similar to STAR method, like Samuel was saying, in A, B, and C. And once you start to talk about those experiences in the same way, in their head, they won't be able to they will be able to tell the difference technically, but they'll still be getting what they want to hear in reality.
Thank you. And for my last kind of question, I would like to ask you guys, where can students get some information to improve their internship experience, whether it be for trying out for new jobs or just trying to get better at their job? Where do you think we can do that?
Yeah, look, I would say the resources are there and they're plentiful, right? Like Samuel said, like each university has a careers department with a variety of free resources. And there's a wealth of online learning, LinkedIn Learning, Udemy, all of the different online course content there. I'd say that the amount of students which actually access this information and access these resources is extremely low, okay? So that's an untapped opportunity. The even bigger thing is what I mentioned before is going to people in your network, going up to them, whether they're in your year group or a year ahead, or they already started their career, or even if there's someone that you've met from from somewhere else, and ask them those 5 words like, hey, can I get your advice? Can I ask something about that? And you're starting to actually build those connections. You're starting to actually deepen what's going on there. And that's going to create a space where things are going to happen. It's very passive if you're just looking at a video. It's very tempting to say, I'm watching this video, I'm learning lots of things, I'm going to do something about it someday. Whereas the moment you start having a conversation with someone, there's something really there where you get to have a bit of accountability. First of all, you've got to show up. And secondly, once you've actually said, thank you for your advice, I'm going to do this, you've got that opportunity now to follow up. And you've got that opportunity to touch base with them in 3 or 4 weeks and say, hey, thank you so much for that advice. I put this into action. I got these results. Thank you so much. I really want to acknowledge the impact that you've had for me. And that just creates the space for the next conversation.
Great. Samuel?
Right. So Google is your best friend. I think everyone can attest to the fact that if you don't know something, my first instinct personally is just to Google it, right? But let's say in this context, let's break it down to 2 groups. Let's start with students who are already in an internship and they want to improve their internship experience. And I just want to touch on Aaron's point where, first and foremost, networking is so critical. When I was at EY, I knew no one. So I actually had no connection whatsoever. I was really fortunate that I got through to the internship process, but I also had no idea what technology strategy was all about. So the first thing I did was make sure that every week I had at least 3 coffee catch-ups with people from different teams and from within my teams or from different teams, right? Just so that I could better understand what am I actually here to do, right? What sort of value am I trying to bring to this company? because they've already offered me the job. So if you're already have an internship, that's the hardest part done. Right now, you got to make sure that you can provide value back to the company who's giving you this opportunity. And if you don't know where to start, talk to people, right? So network, make sure you chat with people to understand what projects are they on, right? Why are they on this project? How did the business get into this project in the first place? Understand what is it that you're trying to do within this project? What's the problem that they're trying to solve, and what are the steps they're taking to solve it? And finally, ask if you can be a part of this project. More than often, people are more than happy to have an extra pair of hands to come in, step up, and learn what's going on so that they can contribute some value to it. So what better than for you to go in and actually work on that project? So make sure that network first and foremost to get onto potential projects. And secondly, don't be afraid to ask questions. If you don't know something, just say you don't know. Be honest and be upfront about it. Because more than often, they are very happy to catch you up to speed of what's going on and how to do a particular thing. But the rest of it then falls on you to make sure that you can improve the entire process, improve whatever that you're trying to do, make it to a better standard so that you continuously provide that value that you are paid to do, that you're given this opportunity to do. And now for students who don't have an internship experience yet, same thing, Google, right? Google out what are the different platforms that you can use to get onto an internship, or Google what sort of problems that you want to learn to solve. And also ask people, right? Networking is going to be that constant thing you're going to do throughout your life, whether you're in uni or whether you're in a professional setting, because networking helps you create and open doorways to different projects, different things that you might want to try. So always Google questions you don't know, network so you can meet people, learn what they do, and get them to more opportunities, and make sure you're willing to embrace the suck, overcome those challenges, and learn. So that would be what I would share to improve your internship experience.
That's great, man. Yeah, so do you guys have any other final remarks or any other tips just for the students out there in internships and experiences as a whole?
Yeah, no additional tips, but I just wanted to share. I had a coffee this weekend with a guy called Kurt Cheng, and he's at UTS. He's in second year, and he was sharing what he did right at the start of his degree. Before he even started at university, he actually started going, how do I actually make the most out of these 3 months between when I got my offer to study at UTS and when I actually start the following year? So he actually reached out to the Vice Chancellor. He reached out to a couple of different students, people in the Students Association, and a lot of them didn't necessarily respond back straight away, but he kept on persisting. And by the time he was done with those 3 months, he had reached out and chatted to lots of different students, student leaders, leaders within the organization. And now he's one of the most active student reps on campus. He actually goes out there, he actually connects in with different people, and he's going out and really making a difference. And what his initial thought was in terms of doing that is going, okay, how can I actually bring my experience? How can I actually be a contribution? How do I align with what's going on here to really make a difference, both for my own study and also for the community? So he now represents all of the law students on the academic board, for example. And he represents all students on the Student Council Liaison Group at UTS. These are just some of the student bodies at UTS. So I would say some of the things that he did was went and asked for advice, and he's constantly sharing what he's doing. He constantly posts his updates of what he's actually asked, the different discussions that he's had, and if he shares that with the wider community, the people that he's chatted to are acknowledged. And when you ask them for advice, you can acknowledge them and actually have them get the experience that they've made a difference to you. And he's also actually keeping in reality, and it's like he's sharing with everyone else out there and providing a pathway so that they can do the same thing. So that's really inspiring. Had a fantastic chat with him. I know that actually when he started his job, it was at a RegTech law firm, or a RegTech company. He started the job, and pretty soon they realized that he was actually 17. They asked him, we thought that you were like in third year uni. Okay, so that's the sort of attitude that someone has. And they were like, we're gonna keep you on. You passed the interview. We hired you. And he's been there for about 18 months now, and he's really, really loving it. So age isn't a limiting factor. Go out and ask for advice and share what you're up to.
That is amazing, Aaron. What an inspiration. I wish I had the guts when I was 17. Actually, that's fantastic. As for me, any additional other tips I would share is just reach out to people. Go on your LinkedIn. If you want to connect to someone, always make sure you create a personalized note, but reach out to them, talk to them, because more than often, people would be willing to share with you everything that you have, that you want to ask them for. Right? When you have that interview with them or when you have that chat with them, make sure you go in prepared so that you know what exactly that you want to get out of it. Just remember they've already set aside time for you. So make sure you use that time to the best of your abilities. Right? And I think it was Wayne Gretzky, but also Michael Scott that said that every, what was it?
You miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Exactly. You miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. So there's nothing wrong, just trying, right? Even if they don't get back to you, move on. There's so many other people out there that's gonna take that time to talk to you. So just keep trying.
Yeah, thank you so much, guys. That's all the time we have. I hope you guys enjoyed listening to these tips and hope you guys actually try some of these at your own pace. Appreciate it, guys. Thank you. Thank you so much.